any changes to the agenda. We've got Dave Mahoney at 6:05. We've got Bethany with regional to talk about the salt shed and raises with the highway.
There. Thank you, BJ.
And executive session. Is there anything else to add?
I need to talk about tax anticipation.
So with that being said, we need to talk about tax
Tax anticipation.
anticipation. And you folks have anything else that you know of? Okay.
Nope.
Dean, you want to just introduce yourself?
Dean Wright.
All right. So we'll start off with Dave Mahoney, and the purpose of this is to upgrade our computer system and contract. So Dave, you're on.
Good evening, guys. Appreciate the time. You know, I know trying to get meetings together these days is unique. So I understand trying to work on these things and get them connected can be interesting. So please let me know if there is anything that, you know, is not coming across well, etc. Do you mind if let me see here. Can I do a screen share? I think Billy Joe printed out the quote, but I just wanted to kind of walk through it with you guys. Are you guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Looks like maybe the host has disabled screen sharing, so I'll, unless that's an easy flip, I won't make things too confusing. I guess who's hosting? Is that Sean?
Go ahead, David. You're good.
Okay, thank you. All right, can you guys see my screen okay here?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, we can.
So basically what we're doing here, we got a couple of issues we're trying to resolve. Windows 7 is the operating system on quite a few of the computers at the town. Basically, we need to get those replaced to be compliant and supported by Microsoft. You guys have been under a hardware as a service agreement with us partially for the last 5 years. Was looking to smooth that out a little bit with this proposal and make it so that the whole IT system was hardware as a service. That way you wouldn't have to, you know, be purchasing computers, etc. If you add a computer, we add it onto the agreement. If you want to remove a computer, we'll take it off the agreement, and you don't have to buy the computers as you have occasionally throughout the last 5 years. Just trying to smooth that out a little bit. And basically what I'm going to do is kind of step through this a little bit. We're just renewing the 5-year agreement that you guys have in place already. Upgrading it so that we are under the managed IT department services, basically, which means that you will have 24/7 support on all of the computers and all of the users that I have quoted here. And we can add and remove people at will. So, you know, keeping it really simple. If the town contracts a little bit, meaning, you know, some users get removed from the system or no longer need access, we can definitely do that. If you add on, we just add the users on, and the same thing with the computers. Okay, so it's very flexible and it's designed to go up and down with you as you grow or shrink, depending on what you're doing. I understand there's a move coming here pretty soon, I believe, into the Armory. Am I correct on that? Okay. So with this program, basically every bit of labor is covered that Vermont Connections puts into the move. The only thing that, you know, I have a little bit of a concern about is the cabling. We don't do anything but, you know, like a cable or two drops. So we may have to have a sublet or somebody come in and do some network cabling. But in my chat with Billy Joe earlier, we're thinking it already has the cabling that we need, but I haven't seen that, so I don't know. But the move of the town, meaning, the computers, etc., will go to the town of Enosburgh. We'll shut them all down, get them disconnected, put them in an orderly fashion. Whoever's doing the physical move, a moving company or, whatever, if we're putting that in a truck, whoever needs to move it just brings it down to the new location at the armory. And we will go ahead and take care of that for you guys. Plug them back in, get them operational, get everything working for you. And you aren't going to get billed for any of that labor for that process. So I just want you guys aware of that. Let me see here. It's really pretty similar to what you're on now. We're including all of the antivirus, the security, everything that we've been providing the town for the last almost 5 years at this point. Any questions around that stuff before I get into the dollars? Just any high level questions or concerns that you folks might have?
I have a question about, you said you would take care of the hardware, about employees, if they needed additional hardware.
Yep. And
you would fund that. Is there a limit or no?
Basically what happens is in the quote side of the fence,
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll just drop to that real quick to be able to answer that for you. Okay.
Mhm.
Say you want to add a 24-inch monitor or 22-inch monitor, whatever, a monitor in this class.
Right.
We add $7 a month to your agreement.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to add a professional grade laptop to the agreement, we add $97. If 3, 4, or 5 months later you decide you don't want it, we remove it.
Okay. So, but we're not purchasing it.
Correct.
We're just running.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hardware as a service, which is, like right now you've got, I can't remember the exact numbers. I could look, but you have like 3 or 4 computers that are provided as hardware as a service from Vermont Connections now.
Right.
And what we're doing is actually going through and consuming those. Let me just show you where that is on here. I was going to walk through it, but see this area where you have client-owned hardware?
Right.
These are the computers that the town currently owns.
Right.
Okay. What we're doing is we went through and looked at the book value of those computers, and we just offered you a credit per month. Okay. So $350 a month credit for the first year. So that's up to the first year here, and not up to, is the first year. And that gives you a credit so that there isn't confusion on what you own and what we own.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're just trying to make it a really easy flat line. That way there isn't anybody confused about the process of, who owns what.
Right. So, but I'm just thinking so it's $97, let's say, for a laptop a month.
No, it's right here.
What's that?
Right here. Right here.
Oh, so it's $97 a month for the laptop, for the life of the laptop, right?
Yep.
So, wouldn't that exceed the expense of the laptop?
Basically, what it is that because we offer the flexibility and we own the equipment, you don't
Right.
have to ever purchase anything for that. So say you're 3 years in to that machine
Yeah.
and that user changes roles and needs a higher end laptop. As
Right.
long as it fits on that professional grade line, you don't have to purchase that.
Right.
But, again, there are ups and downs to that. We can flip this and just do the, a split like we've been doing.
Right.
It just depends on how you want to do it. When I was talking with Billy Joe, she had mentioned that she thought you folks were looking for, hey, let's keep it all under one agreement and keep it simple and easy. So that's where this came from.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I'm just thinking, like you said, 3 years into an agreement for a laptop, that's $3,600 that we've spent for that service when we could have bought a laptop for $1,200. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but what you're doing is you're also not paying for the management of the device.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
that's not
that's
just
all included in that.
in that $97.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So it includes, all the support for that device, the antivirus, the
Okay.
agents, everything
Right.
to do with that device, including warranty extensions, all of that stuff for that hardware is included. So up here, you would normally, if you guys own hardware, we would have a line up here for managed IT department hardware computers. Basically what's happening is we don't have that. It's hardware as a service now. So that's included down in the hardware. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Sorry about that. Let me see. I'll just step back up. I think we're okay there. Any other questions, first of all, just so I can kind of make sure?
So it's right now, do I understand that we own one computer and rent three?
Sorry, you're coming through a little choppy for me here, Dean. So
Am I understanding right now by that this contract ours is, I understand that we own one and we're leasing three at the moment?
right now you own these computers here. Well, Mary's, Billy Joe's, there's one called A Right. A login is A Right, Rec Department, Garage, and I'm not sure where this one is.
I think that's Sean's.
Okay, so these are the computers that you own currently and that we're giving you credit for.
So David.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, here, hold on. When you were saying that we would be renting, where's that other piece of paper there that, none of these computers that we have now have any of those, like the professional grade desktop computer, none of them have it that you know of?
The Windows 10, which is, some of the computers are Windows 10, and those don't need to be replaced. Like you recently bought, I don't know, in the last 6 months, I think, the Rec Department computer, right?
The Rec and Economic Development.
Yeah. So those two computers are Windows 10, right? So those don't need to be replaced, but what we're going to do is consume them so that we just own them under the agreement for hardware as a service. Well, again, we don't have to do it that way. It was just a way to make everything very, transparent.
It's the easiest way, so everything's always getting replaced without having to have questions about should we buy it, shouldn't we buy it, the expense is too much because it's always rolling into it.
Right. And so the thing is that what do we have to do? The ambulance? Should we consider that?
It's everything.
Everything.
All of our stuff that we currently have, ambulance, fire, here, highway, everything is included under this contract.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Pierre?
Yep.
Okay. I'll just kind of high level this down through a little more, and then I'll get into the dollars too and try to step through it fairly quickly because I think I've only got 5 more minutes, so I'm going to be
Don't worry about it.
a little fast. So basically, this is a high level of what we're going to try to take for steps for you guys. We're basically moving a little more towards the cloud and OneDrive, and getting your backups for NIMRIC in a little better of a position, upgrading the backups for the town. And again, simplifying, all of the IT billing and management and making it really easy for you folks to add and remove what you need going forward. Also going to replace the phone system that is currently over in the rescue building. Replace that with a new system, a hosted PBX system. And the other thought was, I highlighted it in yellow here. Basically, when the town moves, I'd like to consider putting a hosted phone system in the armory when they move. That would match the one at the rescue building. Just something to consider, but I just wanted you guys aware of that because right now, the phone system at the town office is the old POTS system, and it doesn't offer, auto attendance and other features that I think, especially now during COVID, but gives you some flexibility moving forward. People can work remotely a little easier. They can be notified of emails a little more efficiently on cell phones, or voicemail on cell phones and that kind of stuff. So just something to consider, okay? So what I've got quoted on the dollars side of this is 14 users. We basically took a look at what we have in email and 365, and that's the number that we had in our system as far as active users. And again, that can go up and down depending on what you need. That's what I have quoted now based on the numbers that I know of. Basically, this server here is managing the Office 365 environment. So that's what that is. You would be we would be eliminating your physical server that is in the rescue building now, because the capital expense of replacing that and keeping that replaced, you're not using the features of that as much as you would need to. So this is a more cost-effective way to operate for the town. And we're protecting 2 locations at this point, quantity 2 here, which is the town office building as well as the rescue building. Now I know there's a rec department that's in another building. We haven't gone in, put firewalls, took a look at any of that. We've left it pretty simple as a user is sitting over there and using the internet. So if we need to do more, we just need to know about it. But right now, we've got these 2 locations covered with firewalls and the security that they should have. Backups, we're basically looking to set up a new backup solution to back up the NIMRIC solution a little better. That's what this is about. And NIMRIC is hosted on 2 workstations, so I had to add 1 workstation on here. We have Billy Joe's computer, and then I think it's the zoning PC. They both have NIMRIC data on them, so we're backing both of those devices up with an image-based backup as opposed to the file level backup you have now. This will put you in a lot better spot. If there is any issues, we'd be able to restore it a lot more efficiently. And then this area is the hardware as a service. So it kind of breaks down, the computers that we're going to support and own and take care of. And then if you guys, like I said, need to modify things or add somebody or remove somebody, we take care of all that. And these numbers will just adjust as we move forward. This is the credit that I had briefly talked about already. So, $4,200 credit basically is going to come through as a line item on your invoice for the first year for a $350 credit per month. Phone system. That's what this is. We got 3 phones, so this is what that would be. The other side of this coin is that Windstream, which is currently a bill that you guys pay for the internet and phone services over in the rescue building. We'll be able to shut down the phone side of that with this, so you'll save a little money on that. I haven't seen a bill. I don't know what exactly that is, but we'll be working with them to get that decommed. And then this is your Office 365 applications and backups, etc. So this is your email, your Office applications, Word, Excel, Outlook, etc. So that's that line item. So bottom line on here, basically with all the different line items, is $4,188.80. Any questions on that? I'm at 6:30, so I just want to try to be respectful of time. I don't know when others are joining, but I think it was 6:30. So
that's $41.88, Dave, per month.
yeah, $4,188.80. And you guys don't have taxes or anything, so that would be the figure that you're looking at.
So what have we been paying?
You have been paying $3,400, I think it was. Let me grab that real quick for you. Give me just 1 second.
$34.90.
Yep, 3490. Look at that. Billy Joe beat me by a millisecond. I tell you.
So that's roughly $700 more a month then.
Yeah, exactly. And, again, the benefits are, you're not going to have to pay anything to move is a big one. I feel like you're going to, normally that's thousands of dollars there. And then the computers, you no longer have to worry about the management of those assets. We're going to take care of that for you.
Now, Dave, you said something about 3 phones back up, a page or 2 above there.
Yep.
Now, we certainly got more than 3 phones within our system here, right?
Yeah, basically the phone system is only at the rescue building.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your ambulance and, primarily ambulance. I don't even think we're messing much with the fire side. They might have a phone over there.
We do.
Yeah, I think you've got 1 phone over there and 2 in the ambulance section, if I'm correct.
Well, we've got actually 3 phones.
Do you?
Yeah, there's 3 phones. There's one in the office, 1 in the bay, and 1 out in the back.
I think he's talking phone lines and phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, that might not be tied to this system actually. So you might have others that, we may want to put into this system, to be more efficient in management. But what I'm looking at here is a direct replacement to what you have in the rescue building, which I think is all on the ambulance side. I don't think we did much on the fire side.
Okay.
And then
I know our phone in the office, we have to punch 9 first before we can get out on the, regular line.
Yep.
So
And
that must
those
be part of
sound
your
like one
system,
these
right?
phones. On all of them or just that one in the office?
Well, I just know the one in the office.
Yep.
I don't know about the other 2.
Yeah, I think the one in the office might be in All Works, but I'm not positive of that. I might actually be able to get in while we're chatting here and see what they're labeled at least. But I do know that, I wanted to try to get things a little more efficient for you folks on, the management of the phone system side. And I feel like the town office itself, it's not included in this. We've talked about it in the past, trying to get a phone system tied in, and we haven't moved forward with that. And I thought maybe on the move, when you guys move over to the armory, that might be the time to look at it.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify, just to make sure I have my thinking right. What this does is it upgrades the phones.
Yep.
It's upgrading the replacement of equipment.
Yep.
And what was the other piece? The phones and the equipment.
Basic,
Backups.
yeah, making sure your NIMRIC backups are image-based now as opposed to file-based. And then also making it so that you have, 24/7 support, which you had in the rescue building before, but now all of our contracts just include them in the new contracts because that's how everything's kind of rolling these days. And then
Okay.
replacing all of the computers,
So-
of course, that need to be replaced. So, all the Windows 7
Mhm.
computers that are in the system would be replaced and put in, new ones. And these professional grade rugged laptops are the ones that are out in your ambulances.
Mm-hmm.
Have some tough books out there. And we're looking to replace those tough books with these newer rigs. And the only other thing that we need to look at in the actual ambulance, and I talked with Billy Joe a little about this, but the mounting system that is in the ambulances may need to be upgraded. But you guys have a company that does that. It sounded like it's a pretty straightforward, upgrade, but that's just something that we need to consider whenever you change hardware. And they're both running, non-HIPAA compliant computers right now. So those computers are Windows 7 and they're not supported. And they're putting in, patient information, data for calls and et cetera. So I want to get those upgraded. So that's also on here as well.
Gotcha.
So on something like this, you're looking to have us make a decision tonight?
Well, I mean, in theory, this is, overdue. I know you guys have been busy,
Should have
so,
been done in January.
but this is definitely overdue in the sense of, we need to get those Windows 7 computers out of there. They've been in there for about 4 months now that, you know, they should have been out. They're already out of compliance. So but the sooner the better, but you know, again, it's your guys' call. I just want to be here for when you're ready to move forward. You know, I'm here to support you guys in this process. So whatever time frame works for you.
Okay, thanks so much, Dave. That was helpful.
No problem. Any other questions or concerns for me?
So I guess maybe my question is, can you hear me?
It's choppy. I can hear you. If you speak slowly, I may be able to make it out. I'll try to do my best.
What is the difference in the cost for the support of the computers if we own them compared to rent them from you?
I didn't do that entire comparison. If you owned them, you would be similar to where you are now. I think it goes up with the backups. Let me think here. I hate to do this in my head, but my best guess is that you would probably end up spending in the vicinity of 34. We had 350, 37. And that would also be you buying the replacement computers, the hardware as a service computers we have now, which I think there's 3 of them. So you'd be spending that 1,500 or so times 3. But if you did that, I think that you're going to land somewhere around 35 to 3,600, where you're spending 34 now, and us owning everything is 41. So I believe you're looking at about a $500 a month difference in that. But again, I should sit down and kind of do that math. That's just my knee-jerk reaction. Let me just see here. Hardware as a service. It's my best guess right now because the phone system would still be upgrading. That stays. I think you're around 500 a month, give or take.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or concerns for me?
No, I think at this time, I thank you for your time and consideration, and we'll get back in touch with you.
Okay, guys, appreciate it. Thank you very
Super.
much. Have a
Super.
great evening.
Hi, good, Dave.
Bye.
I guess I might have missed when you wanted to add something to the agenda.
Okay,
Am I too late now?
I don't think so.
We're going to talk about what the fire department's going to need here as far as this going forward with this COVID-19. You know, we're going to have masks. We're going to have, you know, a disinfectant machine. We're going to have, you know, a couple cases of gloves, and you know, we don't know. This is just, we're just starting this. I mean, if we got to meet all the criteria that they're setting up for us, we're going to have to go forward. I mean, so I'd like to talk about this later.
There is a FEMA grant to help pay for that.
Well, good.
So,
Have we got Dean back yet?
He's connecting.
speak.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, so
yeah.
much better.
So much better.
All right. Very good.
Creeping me out.
Sorry about that.
You were kind of verging of Darth Vader and Stephen Hawking.
I was thinking some horror movie.
Probably the horror movie's closer, right?
Okay, so at this time, are we ready for Bethany?
Bethany,
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Gotta be
Very-
How about now?
very little.
a little better.
Let me. Any better now?
Not really.
Okay, why don't I cell phone in for the audio?
What you gonna do?
So I'm gonna call in. I'll keep my video on, but I'll call.
I hate Zoom meetings.
Who's she calling?
Us. She's calling the Zoom number, and Sean won't answer it. He'll put her in.
Oh. So are you on Windows 10 right now, or are you still on Windows 7?
I have no idea.
She's on Windows 7.
Oh, she can hear us.
Yes, I can. Hey, Pierre, if I need paint, does Sticks and Stuff sell like little like sample paints?
All she's gonna get is quartz.
Okay.
I see her phone.
Okay, so I am, let me get this down. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sorry about that. I've been,
Okay.
the same exact settings that I've been doing with all my Zoom meetings, so I don't know what's going on tonight, but that's just the way of it.
So if anything, Bethany, if we could have you just introduce yourself and what you represent, and that way if people were to review this, they'd know who you were.
Absolutely. So I'm Bethany Remmers. I'm with the Northwest Regional Planning Commission, and I'm on the Planning Commission. We're on contract with the town of Enosburgh to be the municipal project manager for the Enosburgh Salt and Sand Shed project.
Super.
So Billy Joe looped me in this morning that you were having a meeting and wanted an update on the sand and salt shed project. Do I understand correctly?
Right.
Excellent. So just so you know where things are at, that Du Bois and King has finished the draft final plans and bid documents for the project. I have done a pretty thorough review and sent comments to the engineer that they've addressed, and Joey has also done the same, and he found different things that I didn't find. So it was good that we were both putting sets of eyes on this. So the next step is the draft plans and bid documents get sent to VTrans, where they do a very thorough review. You're looking at least 3 weeks, and it's different departments of VTrans that review the plans. So it will be the environmental people will be looking at the erosion control plan. Different people will be looking at the actual structure. So it's probably like 6 or 7 different parts of VTrans that will put sets of eyes on these plans. So that's the next step. I completely understand that, as far as when you go out to bid is up to discussion. And Joey and I both had some conversations with Larry about this, is with it being late in the season, typically, it's less desirable to go out to bid this late into a field season. However, this might be a summer where contractors are really, looking for work, concerned about the economy and really hungry. And this would be a great, construction project to have out there. Some of the unknowns that we don't know is, if there's going to be any supply chain disruptions that might prevent you, from a contractor being able to complete the job. And then the other constraint is once the project starts, it's critical that it gets done by September. So Joey and his crew are able to start hauling materials. So that would be one reason to maybe go out to bid this summer, but have contractors be bidding on it for next year. So I don't know as a board, whether you want to have a conversation about that tonight. If there are specific questions you want to ask V-Trans on advice on when to go out to bid. But I will have to say that even if you're not constructing this field season, the next step is to get these draft plans submitted to V-Trans for review.
So what's the time frame on this? Once it gets reviewed, do we have a year or two, so to speak?
In order for it to be actually constructed?
In order for us to start break ground and like, say we don't start this until next year. I mean, are we going to get penalized? I mean,
No, it's my understanding that there would be no penalty as long as you are moving forward and you have a plan in place.
Okay.
I think if you decided that you wanted to construct next year, getting advice from V-Trans of whether, do you still put the bid out in, let's say, July or August, and, get all those bids locked down so a contractor's ready to start as soon as they're ready in the spring.
So what I'm hearing, it makes sense for us to send it to V-Trans sooner than later. And then should we wait for recommendation from V-Trans whether to bid, or should we just kind of go with July or August? We should put it out to bid and just see what we get.
So I would say I definitely think that the town should be getting advice from V-Trans. But it would be interesting to know from a group your initial reaction. What's your initial reaction to going out to bid this year for construction next year? Do you think that's going to be disappointing for the town? Do you think that kind of just makes sense given all the unknowns that are happening right now?
My feeling is it makes sense. However, I think on the other end for contract is going to play into that. Like, do we want to bid not knowing what suppliers are going to rate at because of the supply chain, whatever. Does that make sense? Like, I almost wonder how solid the bids we're going to get.
Yeah, so Polly, you were choppy, and I'm not sure if it was on my end or your end, but if I understand correctly, are you concerned that contractors will be reluctant to submit a bid for next year?
Yes.
Okay. And we can just.
But my
ahead,
gut
Polly.
is that we should put out bids. I just don't know what we're going to get. I think we should start looking to see who wants it and what are we looking for as far as price.
Yeah, and the one challenge to using these federal highway dollars, unlike if this was your just local dollars, is once you go out to bid, you are you're more tied to moving forward. So it'd be very tough to go out to bid, not like any of the bids just because of price, and then decide to go out to bid. There's a lot of prohibit. That's just not allowed. So it's really kind of a chicken and the egg situation on what to do.
Bethany, what have you seen happening with projects for this year? Have you seen anything with them either not happening or getting delayed or anything?
Well, so up until, this past Friday, when the governor has expanded construction projects and other work, to 10 people on site. Before then, it was 5 people, which was really limiting. So I haven't seen any projects move forward. But I don't know what, now that it's expanded to 10 people, how quickly things will move. One thing, one option could be, and we'd have to see if V-Trans would be amenable to this, is writing in the bid that the contractor has the option, bid now, and you have the option to build this year, but it must be done by this date, or start next year. I don't know if that would be allowed, but I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on whether we should explore that.
I like that option.
Do we have to be concerned at all that there's going to be another wave of the COVID and then it will shut us down?
Billy Jo, I think that's a legitimate concern. Because we just don't know what the fall is going to bring.
Yeah, see, the tough part on that is that even in the industry that I'm in, everything has been delayed for so long that your concrete people are months behind. Just in the projects that they've got going, ahead of them. I don't think the lumber prices and supply isn't going to change too much, but it's a concrete part.
Bethany. Bethany.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know. The way I feel about it is I don't want to push this thing to try to get it done this year and not get it done, by September for Joey to put his saying, because he's not going to have a place to put it if the building's not done. And I just think we ought to take it step by step. And I think myself personally, I think we ought to just put that out to bid, this fall, and then and do it next year. That's my feeling. But
I feel the same way.
I think it's good thinking. You feel that?
Yeah.
What about you, Dean?
Yeah, I'm agreeable with anything. I don't care.
And that's why we like you.
Yeah.
So what I can do, we can submit these draft plans for V-Trans review. I can summarize kind of like these are different options for bidding that the select board has discussed. Their preference is to release a bid in the fall for construction next year. V-Trans, do you have any concerns about that? But I think that you're moving in the right direction.
Sounds good.
Did you have any questions about the kinds of comments that we had about the final plan, or any other budgetary questions?
Nothing on my end.
I think Joey's kind of fine-tuned it, as need Bethany, to exactly what we want.
No, Joey's definitely put like a lot of time and effort into reviewing the plans. And like I said, I caught a whole bunch of things, but then he took a second look, and he's coming from a perspective of he works on the site every day, and he caught a few other things. So
Right. Okay.
it's been really nice to work with him on the project.
Okay. Well, super. So we'll wait to hear from you when you
After V-Trans reviews.
after V-Trans takes a look at it.
That That sounds great. So I think we'll let the engineer know to submit those draft final plans and bid documents tomorrow. They've been ready to go. We just wanted to have a conversation with the select board first. And then we'll let you know when we get comments back and how substantial those comments are from V-Trans on their review.
Joe. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks, Bethany.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Thanks, Bethany. Bye.
All right, so the next thing we're gonna go into is we're gonna talk about the East Bakersfield Bridge, status on that. And Dean might be able to give you a little bit of insight, and then I talked to Joey, so. Are we talking too loud on our end?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Don't know.
I know the last week they have been up there doing some surveying and stuff, working on it quite a bit, trying to figure out how to put a temporary bridge in and stuff. I didn't talk to them today, but they were up surveying again. I don't really know a lot more than that. I don't know what Joey's had for conversations with them.
Okay, so he kind of filled me in a little bit tonight. And tentatively, we were probably looking at 3 to 4 years out. And I don't know if there's a possibility of putting in a temporary bridge. So,
I thought they were going to put a temporary bridge in. No?
well, right, but this is our time frame.
You hear an echo when Peter talks?
Oh, yes.
Maybe it's
Yep.
let me shut this one off.
Oh, mackerel.
I think it's just the internet lines tonight.
All right, is that any better?
Yes.
It was because the other monitor was on.
Oh, yeah. So, so that's what his thought was. He'll probably have more information for us when we meet again in another couple weeks. But yeah.
But I mean, are they willing to put in a temporary bridge for these 3-4 years before they're going to do any work on the bridge itself, or what did
The one
Joey
that we
say?
had at the tannery, we had for more than 3 or 4 years. So yeah, they usually rent them out at least that long.
Right. But I mean, I'm just thinking about, people using that road, like Dean uses it a lot, but I mean, there's for fire and ambulance and, different things like that.
One of the regional planning directors, Bill Irwin, he's on the fire for Bakersfield. He's on the project committee for regional, and he echoed that it was a bridge that they used and needed to get something. So it sounds like a temporary bridge is coming.
Good.
Okay.
So before we go into highway, which we should do an executive, I want to just say about the tax anticipation.
Or we want to do that, or we want to do Terry's thing. You want to talk about? So the next item on the agenda would be the tax anticipation. And I'll have BJ, our town clerk, talk about that.
Okay, so earlier in the year before town meeting, we had one tax anticipation note, which we weren't sure how much we were going to need. So it was 1.2, but we actually needed to borrow 1.6 before taxes come in. So I have a note here that needs 3 signatures for another 400,000. And I only did this ahead because of the state of affairs, knowing that pretty much the delinquent tax collection is almost halted. There's hardly any payments coming in. Ambulance is a little bit behind because switching over to the new company. So we're not getting any revenue from that right now until it kind of catches up with itself. Won't take any draws unless absolutely necessary, but wanted to have it in case things go south, which that's kind of where they're headed. Wanted to be first in line at the bank, basically.
Good idea.
Makes sense.
Sounds good.
Pierre can sign tonight, and if I can get Dean and Holly or Terry, somebody to come in for a couple more signatures tomorrow, that would be great.
And we'll probably need a motion on that.
I'll move.
So
I'll
is
second it.
Polly Rico, seconded by,
I'll second.
okay, seconded by Dean Wright. All those in favor? Signify
Aye.
by saying aye.
Aye.
So Polly Rico said aye, Dean Wright said aye, and Terry Wright said aye. So it's agreed upon, passed. So now we'll move into the information on the fire department with Terry Wright.
Okay, I've been talking with Mark quite a bit over the weekend. We talked about, going back, having fire drill, and then now we've decided we're not going to have fire drill now because of so many different restrictions. So what he and I talked about today was, we want to, we got to get enough masks, to have everybody have their, own masks. They're going to have to be disposable masks. We use them once and throw them away. And then, and also we should have a couple cases of, rubber gloves, large and extra large, just because we're going to be using them more often. And then we also need to talk about a disinfectant machine where we can use that in the ambulances and fire trucks and our bathrooms. I guess the regulations is, and what Mark read something last night on the computer, that, we got to start disinfecting a lot more stuff than what we have been. So we've got that. So I've been talking to Robert Gleason. I talked to him Saturday and I talked to him again today, that there is a machine out there that will spray this disinfectant, and it will, it'll dry within 5 seconds after you spray it. And it's ready to go just a couple minutes after that, and it's all dried up. And so this machine, what it does is actually puts a fog into the ambulance bodies or the cabs, and and you don't have to wipe anything down. This stuff actually kind of goes around stuff. From what I see, the stuff Robert sent me today. And so we're going to have to do something, because I don't think anything's getting done. I don't know about the ambulance side. I don't know how good they say they're wiping down, but how good they're actually wiping down, I don't know. And our side, we're doing nothing. So we're thinking about if we can buy this machine, we use it, on both sides, see how that works, and then just go from there and see how it works. Well, so anyways, the cost, not cheap. The machine is $4,000, and the liquid that the disinfectant that you use is $30 a gallon, and a gallon will treat 75 ambulances. So, so it'll go a gallon will go quite a ways. So, I mean, I don't know how the rest of you folks feel, but, we're going to have to start doing something, because I don't think much is getting done now. And I think they're starting to come down with more and more restrictions. So I'm wondering, and maybe Sean, you could help with this, is would that qualify for COVID-19 expenditures for the grant for FEMA?
Yes.
I wonder. Yeah, I think we could get that paid for because of their expenses above and beyond what we would normally purchase due to COVID-19.
Correct. Yeah. And the informational webinar, it was pretty straightforward that any additional expense, I mean, it could have been notepads, any additional expense, man hours, PPE, equipment, anything that really was above and beyond what was typical for operations due to COVID can be claimed under the FEMA disaster grant.
Yeah, so I think your masks, your gloves. So if we purchase it, we just have to keep receipts and then we can put it in as a claim. That's my feeling. I don't know how you all feel.
I think it's definitely a good thing to invest in because as they're saying, it's going to last for at least, they're suspecting 2 years. So it's definitely something that's going to get its use.
Gary, can I ask a maybe obvious question? Any concern on, at least in the short term, acquiring or ordering some PPE?
I do not think there is. I forget who I was talking to today, but they said WB Mason, boy, could get 65 masks for $50 or something like that. We could get masks through them. Anybody's got an account with them. Do we have an account with them, BJ?
Yes, we do.
You do? And I forget who I was talking today, but they told me, about getting masks like that. So, and then I'm sure the gloves, you probably could get through them too. Maybe BJ,
Just either you or Mark tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Okay. And now, Sean, this machine that I've been talking about. Now, of course, I thought maybe it cost $1,000 or $1,500. Well, I didn't expect $4,000. But I can see a problem coming down the road. If we share that machine, and of course the ambulance uses it a lot more than we do. I don't know. You said that we might be able to get this, financed or paid for. If we got 2 machines, would that be possible or not? Because I'm just saying, I said we could start out with 1 and see, what kind of a pain that's going to be to use it between the 2 sides, And so is that possible, Sean, or not?
I don't foresee that being an issue. In the information session that I sat through, I didn't really see any sort of caps or limits. That was a little bit of time ago. This was probably, Billy Joe was remind me maybe a week and a half, close to 2 weeks ago. I initially went and talked to Mark. I wasn't sure if the fire and ambulance were being really proactive in ordering any PPE or doing anything, so I wanted to check to see then. I don't know how well funded it is at this point, knowing how quickly the CARES Act program was wiped out on the business side. Hopefully there's still funds available, but I mean, I don't know how much of that was taken up by large metropolitan areas, out in California and New York, and it's hard to tell. But I don't see why, let's say $8,000-9,000 worth of disinfectant equipment and PPE would be unreasonable. My only concern would be at this point, because it's a few weeks after the initial kind of information session and how it was made available right at the time. My only concern would be, how well funded it is at this point, a few weeks in.
Right. Okay. Well, you could check. I mean, if we can get 1 for the time being, it would be better than nothing, and, but if there's a possibility of getting 2 of them, well, that'd be the ideal situation.
And on the ambulance side, we did get some stimulus money for the ambulance, which was a little over $14,000.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So that's something you'd look into, Sean?
Yeah, I can reach out to a FEMA contact and just see, before we get too far down the rabbit hole there. Just to make sure that there's funds still available.
Yeah, Sean Coleman probably be the one to ask. I bet he would know.
Yeah, I can do that right now.
Has Scott done anything on the ambulance side?
Well, as far as I know, just by talking to a couple of people, I mean, all they've done is they're just hand wiping things down. But I know how that goes too, not every crook and cranny gets where this mist is I understand it from looking at the, the brochure on my other iPad is it, actually goes around, like a pipe, instead of just getting the front part of it, it'll actually wrap itself around there.
Yeah.
And
Like a mist?
something about the mist is electrified, and that will attach to, different stuff, and it dries a lot quicker, and it does a better job of disinfecting.
I'll forward you the estimate, Sean.
Thank you.
There's pictures in
It definitely sounds like a good idea to have.
Well, I think especially, we're going to have to do it, I think, to meet all the regulations and everything.
Okay, so we'll wait to hear from Sean and then move ahead on this at the next meeting, or is this something you guys want to decide tonight?
Oh, I think we need to decide it now instead of later. This is something that needs to be done.
I think we need to do it. It's basically, I think 1 versus 2 at this point, right?
Right.
Definitely the 1, and with hopes that we're going to get that reimbursed. But if we hear from Sean that yeah, that's not unreasonable, then let's go for the 2.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll need a motion.
I'll move.
Second it.
All right, so Polly Rico is moved for the purchase to buy a Clorox Total electrostatic sprayer and some disinfectant cleaner for a price of $4,120. It was seconded by Terry. Pardon?
Also the purchase of masks and rubber gloves as well.
Okay. Seconded by Terry Wright. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
So Polly Rico said aye, Terry Wright said aye, and Dean Wright said aye. Passed.
BJ,
Yeah,
I'll have Mark come over and talk to you about the mask and the gloves and stuff.
that's fine.
Exactly what we want.
Okay.
Terry, where did they get this machine from? Do you know?
Well, I don't really know, Dean. It's there's a salesman, and it's through Robert. He's dealing with somebody in just a minute.
Medford, New York.
There you go. Yeah, I think
All right.
he sent a copy to BJ too. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right, good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so is it safe to say next on the agenda, we want to go into bridges on the highway? Or do we have anything else that's kind of pending?
Before we get into that,
Yep.
the 14,000 BJ that you said the ambulance received, what was that?
Yes.
What was that going for, or any ideas?
Because we're a Medicaid, Medicare provider, they take what income you received from them last year, and that's how they based that amount on, some percentage.
Okay.
And I don't have, I mean, you guys have to give me direction what you want it used for, but I mean, it is it's already in the checking account because it was an ACH deposit, but it is meant to be specifically for the ambulance.
All right.
I would just count it as revenue, like a bill was paid.
Okay.
Are there any connections to it, like these payroll programs where it's got to be for anything specific? No?
It didn't say, but the funny thing is that the new company that we're using for billing sent out an email with like a little video of what you should do if you received it. You didn't have to accept it. The funny thing is when you receive those, they don't tell you that you have to sign an acceptance form, which, it comes with conditions, I'm sure, down the road.
Yeah.
So I went online and I accepted it on behalf of the ambulance, but it doesn't say anything other than that currently.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'll move to go to executive.
Second it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Bye.